He wasn't supposed to win anything this season, and yet he walked away with silverware. Another spent millions, dominated the league, but still left fans divided. And then there's the mastermind who turned a team of underdogs into title contenders, without a single superstar. Across Europe, managers pulled off masterclasses, miracles, and complete meltdowns. But when it's all said and done, who actually deserves to be called the best? Let's break it down, and you might be surprised who makes the strongest case. Luis Enrique has completely changed the story of Paris Saint-Germain. In just one season, he managed to do what no one else ever had. He led PSG to a historic treble, winning the Champions League, Ligue 1, and Coupe de France. This was the first time a French club has ever achieved a continental treble, and it was all under his leadership. When Enrique arrived, PSG had talent but lacked identity. Over the years, they were often seen as a team of superstars that didn't always play like a team. Luis Enrique changed that. He focused on balance, discipline, and teamwork. Instead of building the squad around one or two big names, he created a system where everyone knew their role and played for each other. This approach paid off in the biggest way. PSG didn't just win the Champions League. They dominated. In the final, they beat Inter Milan 5-0, the largest winning margin in the history of a UCL final. It wasn't flashy tricks or solo brilliance. It was smart, structured football. And it worked. Even younger players were trusted and given big moments. Desiree Doué, just 19 years old, scored 2 goals in the final and was named Man of the Match. Enrique's confidence in youth made a huge difference. This treble also puts Luis Enrique in a special place in football history. He became only the second manager ever, after Pep Guardiola, to win trebles with 2 different clubs, first with Barcelona in 2015 and now with PSG in 2025. While Luis Enrique was rewriting history in Paris, another big story was unfolding in Spain, and this time it was all about Barcelona. After a few bumpy years and the constant struggle to rebuild their identity post-Messi, Barca decided it was time for a bold change, so they turned to Hansi Flick. Now, Flick isn't just any coach. He's the man who led Bayern Munich to a historic sextuple in 2020. That's 6 trophies in 1 year, including the Champions League. When he took over Barcelona, he didn't try to copy their past. Instead, he brought his own ideas. Faster, more direct football with high pressing and vertical runs. Basically, less sideways passing, more purpose. And the results? Way better than expected. Barcelona became one of the most exciting attacking teams in Europe. They weren't just keeping the ball. They were using it to hurt opponents. Goals were coming from everywhere and not just from the front line. Even defenders were getting in on the action. Across the season, Barca's backline chipped in with 12 goals and 24 assists. That's not just solid, it's game-changing. The moment that really showed how far they'd come under Flick? A 4-0 demolition of Real Madrid in El Clasico. It wasn't a lucky win. It was domination. Fast, aggressive, and confident. The kind of football fans had been begging to see again. Flick didn't just revive Barcelona, he gave them a new identity. And more importantly, he made them believe they could be elite again. From Barcelona's rebirth to Italy's football heartland, our next story takes us to Naples, where Antonio Conte pulled off one of the most impressive comebacks of the season. Napoli were in a tough spot. Just a year ago, they had finished 10th in Serie A. Fans were frustrated, confidence was gone, and to make things worse, they lost 2 of their biggest stars, Victor Osimhen and Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. For most teams, that would have meant another long, disappointing season. But then came Conte. Now, Conte is known for his no-nonsense style. He brings structure, discipline, and an obsession with hard work. And that's exactly what Napoli needed. He didn't try to replicate talent with flash. He built a proper team. One of his smartest moves? Bringing in players like Scott McTominay and Romelu Lukaku. Not the flashiest names, but exactly the kind of hardworking, battle-ready players Conte loves. And suddenly, Napoli started clicking. The team wasn't just solid, they were ruthless. They pressed with intensity, defended as a unit, and made every game a grind for their opponents. The midfield, led by McTominay, brought energy and balance, while Lukaku added power and goals up front. By the end of the season, Napoli had climbed all the way to the top. Against all odds, they won the Scudetto. Taking over from Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool was never going to be easy. Klopp wasn't just a manager, he was a symbol of the club's modern identity. He gave fans unforgettable memories, major trophies, and a team that played with heart. So when Arne Slot was announced as his replacement, there were more questions than excitement. But Slot didn't try to be Klopp. He brought his own voice, his own methods, and most importantly, a sense of calm. And that made all the difference. Slot implemented his preferred 4-2-3-1 formation, and it immediately started to work. The system gave Liverpool structure without sacrificing their attacking firepower. Mohamed Salah found more freedom to drift inside and do what he does best, score and create. Dominik Szoboszlai in the number 10 role became the link between midfield and attack, dictating the tempo and adding a creative spark. What stood out most was how balanced the team looked. They defended with purpose, pressed smartly instead of constantly, and still managed to entertain. Slot didn't reinvent the wheel, he just tuned it perfectly. And the results spoke for themselves. Liverpool clinched the Premier League title with 4 games still to go. That is dominance. Slot kept the squad motivated, managed rotation wisely, and earned the trust of both players and fans in record time. What many expected to be a painful transition became a story of smooth success. Slot proved that you don't need to shout to lead. You just need clarity, confidence, and a team that believes in your vision. From the outside, it looked effortless. But inside, it was a masterclass in smart coaching and strong leadership. Klopp may have left big shoes to fill, but Arne Slot slipped into them like they were made for him. And now let's talk about one of the most unexpected and heartwarming stories of the season, Oliver Glasner's magic at Crystal Palace. When Glasner arrived, the expectations were modest. Palace had just lost some key players, the squad looked thin, and the early part of the season wasn't exactly promising. But Glasner didn't panic. He did what great managers do. He adapted. He reshaped Palace's style, moving away from a reactive game plan to a more confident, structured approach. His system allowed players like Eberechi, Eza, and Michael Olise to shine, while the backline became more organized and harder to break down. Week by week, the team grew, not just in results, but in belief. That belief turned into a fairy tale in the FA Cup. Palace went on a brilliant run, knocking out tough opponents one by one. But no one expected what happened in the final. Facing Manchester City, a team filled with superstars and backed by a billion-dollar squad, Palace stayed fearless. Glasner's tactical plan was bold, pressing City at the right moments and striking with precision. And it paid off. Crystal Palace stunned everyone by winning the final and lifting the FA Cup for the first time in their history. It wasn't just a win, it was a moment that redefined the club. From relegation worries to holding silverware, Oliver Glasner gave Palace fans a season they'll never forget. So after all these stories, Luis Enrique's treble, Flick's revival, Conte's comeback, Slot's smooth takeover, and Glasner's miracle, here's the big question. Who do you think was the best manager this season? Drop your pick in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more football stories and breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching.